Well, good evening and welcome. Delighted to see so many of you have joined us tonight. My name's Jo Sturdy. I'm one of the career consultants here at the Officers Association, and beside me this evening is Victoria Greenhatch, who is the Employment Services and Events Coordinator, and she'll be looking after the technology for this event. So this evening's webinar is giving us an opportunity to learn a bit more about the Bristol Management Centre and the courses they offer to service leavers. Our speaker this evening is Dean Taylor, who runs the Bristol Executive Management Programme, and Dean has been working with military delegates for over 40 years. So over to you, Dean.
Thank you very much, Jo. And first, I'd like to say thank you to both Jo and Victoria for offering us this kind opportunity to speak to you people this evening. Okay, as Jo said, I'm Dean Taylor. I'm the Managing Director of IMD Group. We have three businesses in the group, and one of them is Bristol Management Centre, or BMC as we call it. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is a little bit about BMC, who we are, what we do, and why we do it. Then a little bit about the BEMP, or the Bristol Executive Management Programme, and then why delegates as yourselves have been on previously, and why potentially you should come on in the future. And then what would be really good if we could get some questions at the end. I understand you can type them in as we go along, and then I'll answer those at the end. Okay, a little bit about myself. So I've been involved in the government / defence environment for a very long time. Started off in government and then really went into consulting and learning and development, and rose my way up through. So now I run IMD Group, and Bristol Management Centre is our learning and development business within the group. And I'll touch on the other parts of the business later. BMC, what do we do? We provide accredited training and learning and development to armed services resettlers, but equally to public sector bodies such as Avon Somerset Police, local government, and the MoD. And also we provide training to private sector clients such as Wessex Water in this area, Hargreaves Lansdowne, Fraser-Nash. So going back to the resettlement training, we also offer advice around CVs and give you talks on LinkedIn, and with our experience of working with lots of companies in the defence and security environment, we'll give you hints and tips of working with them and contacts that you could go through. Right, if we stop there. So just a quick slide really on, how to be successful at interview, the things that employers from my personal experience, but also speaking to lots of HR professionals and business leaders, the sort of things that organisations are after. I'm obviously going to dwell on the sort of processes, methodologies, and tool sets that you will need, and a little bit about sort of commercial awareness I'll come on to. But this slide really just talks about soft skills, leadership, communication, personal, tenacious. So those things you've actually got in abundance. Specialism and expertise, again, technical, you'll have those in your relevant job function, empathy with colleagues, credibility. But what I'm going to focus on are the things that you need in the future for around process, methodologies, and tool sets, which we offer on our BEMP course. I recently did a session with armed service leavers up at Fujitsu, and the briefing I got was from their experience of interviewing people coming out of the military. The biggest area or the most blockers in interviews seem to be around business, commercial, and finance skills. So the type of things that they were keen for me to talk through were business strategy. So how does a business function? How do you write strategy within a business? And yourselves, you'll have experience potentially of military strategy, but obviously there's a different change management. I actually believe, okay, you haven't got the commercial experience, but you've got the experience of change within the defence sector. So that's something that you've got in spades. Marketing, sales. Again, my view on this is that you may not have done it in the military. However, you're being sold to, you're being marketed to all the time. Commercial needs and contracts. Again, you may have dealt with those in your military career, but these are areas where you potentially need to understand at a certain level when you go for job interviews and when you get asked those questions. Competition market forces I will cover later. And I think the one key area definitely of benefit is around accounting and accounts, both management and financial. So from speaking to Fujitsu and other companies in the sector, these are the areas that they feel armed service leavers have not got that much experience of. Some of them I think you have, you just need to know the terminology, and that's what this is all about really. What's the BEMP? It's a 3-week CMI level 7, which is an MBA level course, and I think the key thing for us is that it's taught by practitioners, so accountants, marketeers, people that actually do the job, and that's a key factor with one reason that we deliver it so well. Our reputation is around that sort of practical experience. So just a real quick overview. Week 1, I talked about a little bit earlier about sort of finance and management accounts. So these are the things that you have not had the opportunity to experience in your military career. So things like income statement, which is profit and loss, balance sheets, cash flow, cost control, all of the things that are key to running a business. And the management, these things are utilised in all these things we utilise within our business group. And I can tell you that you probably heard the phrase "cash is king." Well, absolutely it is. So that's why a cash flow forecast, all of those cost controls are absolutely vital to understand, but also know about if you're going to get a career in business. The Week 2 is business operations, so supply chain, performance management of the supply chain, lean, quality, what it's like to be an entrepreneur. We also have a day on employment law. We feel it's employment law is very complex, so around HR and the type of things that you, as a business leader, will be need to be aware of. Week 3 is my personal favourite. It's business strategy and marketing. It's one thing that I live and breathe all the time, as well as the other two. So this is all about strategy, strategic options. Where should we take the business? Do we need to get into making chocolate, or do we need to go in manufacturing new Hoovers, or whatever it is? New vacuum cleaners, sorry, rather than Hoovers. So that's what should we be doing as business? What should we be doing with our people? Change. You always look to the future. This is where we are now. This is where we want to go as a business. You've got your vision. You've got your mission statement. All those good things that you've probably heard and don't know what they are. So those are things that we cover there. Marketing strategy. So how do you market? How do you do a competitive analysis? What are your competitors doing? How are we going to win business over our competitors? And the final thing there is PR and branding. Absolutely key. You look at things like companies like Uber, new boys on the block. Look how quickly that brand has come around. So we talk a lot about branding and how important that is. Now, you can do the course modular. You can do a 3 weeks straight away, or you can split it into 3 separate weeks, and you can actually split it down even further into modules. And the team here at Bristol Management Centre can advise the best way that you can do that. The bit that a lot of the delegates that come here really, really enjoy is the business simulation exercise. So we take everything that's been learnt over the 3 weeks, and we have a day, a business game. What makes me laugh is that I see, people running up and down the corridor, trying to bid, and people get very competitive, which I think, you probably expect with delegates like yourselves. But that's absolutely, it's good. And the feedback we get is, as you can see at the bottom of this slide, is very good. The important thing, and I get the feedback on the Friday from all delegates, is it ties everything together. It really does, and reiterates the learning process. I'm a firm believer, and we're a firm believer here, that 70% of learning is on the job, and this is a simulation to help you do that. So that's a little bit about the course. You can do it in modular, etc. So why the BEMP? Why should you do this? And I've got a number of key points here that I'll go over with you. So the first one, I don't really like the phrase civilianises, but it does. It civilianises leadership and management skills. So again, you've got those in abundance, but there is a slight difference in Civvy Street and working with civilians. And the course really sort of goes over and covers and debates what those are. And one of the major ones, funny enough, that always gets fed back to me is that people don't do what you ask. So that's probably one to bear in mind. The next point, corporate mindset. When you're going through your CV, when you're in an interview, you need to understand how corporate thinks. So you need to understand the buzzwords. You need to know how to translate the terms in military, the terms that are used in public service and military service into corporate speak. And that's really what this is all about. Everything that you've done is transferable. You just need to understand how much of it is transferable and how to say the right words. So what happens over 3 weeks, we find that our delegates really, really start to understand and during lectures, write down the right words to have in the CV. And when they go to interviews, they can then talk about profit and loss, understand what it is. That, I think, is a key thing for me, is the corporate mindset. I've mentioned about the tutors. They are practitioners, so their stories are real, and can answer real questions. So they're not academics; they are absolutely people that have lived and breathed this. And again, we were really keen to get a law firm in, so we used Vizards in Bristol. They come in and give a day on employment law and the sort of things that you as a senior manager or a senior leader need to know in order really to protect yourself and the company that you're working for. Bridging the gap in service experience. So I mentioned finance, marketing, employment. So these are things that you may have done, but you won't have done it in the corporate way. So it really, really bridges the gap on the excellent experience and skills that you all have. I think also, even though you study these in isolation, so finance, strategy, and business operations, it's the links between them all. How do they all work together? What pitfalls, what things you need to understand in each of those? And you need to think about finance, obviously, when you're setting your strategy. You need to think about big business operations and KPIs and all those things that tie those together. Okay, so practical. What do we mean by this? Well, most of the delegates that we speak to after the BEMP, when they've been, working for a year, they say to us, "Well, we've used the BEMP notes day to day. They look up, before they go to meetings. So it's actually a really good reference guide to their day to day working, which I think is great and really warms me when they come back. We do get them to come back and speak as part of the course. We get previous delegates that have been exactly where you guys are sitting now, like sponges, listening to all the information that's out there. They'll come back and tell you how useful the BEMP was and how they've really, got into corporate life and how they're doing, how they handle the transition. I think it's really important. We've got tutors. I want tutors that understand military public sector, and they get it. They've worked for quite a few years, 10 and 12 respectively, in this environment, so they understand how you currently work, how you currently operate, and how that maps across. And I think that's key. What I didn't want and what we don't do here is have somebody stand up and just give you what's in the book. That's not what we're about. You need to have an understanding of your current area of capability and what you do and how that's transformed. The business simulation I talked to you about, but again, it's hands-on. It's all that experience in how to utilise all the theory and practice you've done. Interaction, we try and have groups around 12. Generally 16 maximum. We believe in a quality learning experience. any more than 16, it's been proven that it's not a good number and you will not get the maximum experience of it. So we always try and get between 12 and 16. We also run a number of other courses here around project management, other functions that are related to executive management program, and they're here. So the other tutors you can speak to and talk about their careers and how they've risen up through in management or leadership. And I think that the bottom point on this slide is very, very important. There's other military delegates who could be leaving before you are. Speak about their network, but more importantly, we have people on courses here that are non-military, so they're already working in whether it's Hargreaves Lansdown or Fraser-Nash or Atkins or wherever they are, and they're around. We've got a coffee break area where we encourage everybody to talk. So as I mentioned earlier, the course is split into modules and then into sort of weeks. So you've got your finance, you've got your operations, and then your strategy. And we're very happy. You can do 3 weeks in one, or you can do the 1 week, or you can do the 2 days on each sector. And contact the office or look at the website. It does explain exactly how that is managed. Interactive delivery, there's lots of practical exercises. So I mentioned the simulation at the end, the business game, but also throughout the 3 weeks, there are a lot of exercises, lots of practice on profit and loss and balance sheets, lean techniques, and there are small simulated exercises throughout the whole time. So it's quite interactive. It's not somebody stood up there, teaching you fully face to face on this. It is interactive, and that's the way we like it. And also means we can tailor it to your specific business interests. Commercially focused, so we have lots of videos, corporate videos that really enhance the learning experience across the board. And I think the fourth point is we use the skills and techniques in our own businesses. That is absolutely true. So right from the strategic options, the Ansoff matrix that's used for that, through to the competitor analysis, obviously profit and loss and balance sheets. It's what we use in the business. So it's actually how a business runs and how a business functions. And that is why this course is so key if you want a job in one of the many functions of a business operation. One thing we do get asked is, well, I've already got a level 7 qualification. Okay, that's fine. This is obviously Chartered Management Institute, but it's the things you're taught. So it's okay to have the qualification, which is okay, but really, you want to understand financial management, financial planning, how to develop a marketing strategy. Those things that as I said earlier, the likes of Fujitsu and others have said is lacking sometimes with military delegates. It is a good one it's a good course to do and undertake. Again, I did touch on this earlier. One of the things that we're really interested in doing here is sharing from experience of other companies. So during the 3 weeks, we have a number of external speakers in. We do try and get people that have been through, resettlement, whether they've been through here, whether they've been through other accredited organisations. So recently, people from KPMG, Fraser-Nash, PwC, Nationwide, and the consultancy division within the group. We come in and get the consultants to come in and tell you about being a consultant and, etc. We also do sessions on how to use LinkedIn, how to get a job and sort of career insights. So those are the type of things that we'll get to do whilst you're here, and we always have a number of speakers in during the week. I think the other thing we do encourage delegates to meet in the evening. I think first day we have a lunch where everybody gets to know each other and break the ice, and on the final Thursday we tend to go out and celebrate the end of the 3 weeks. Onto another point, BEMP's more applicable, suitable for a wider range of uses. Yeah, there's things. So you may want to run your own business. So you want your own business. This gives you a good understanding of all the fundamental elements of running a business. You might want to take on a franchise. That seems to be quite a popular thing to do. So, again, it's running a business. Or some of you want to be a senior leader, whether at board level or whether it's senior management rising to board level. This course enables you to understand at a good level all of those things that you need to run a business. And I think the final point, we're open to all ranks. We really are, and we generally get 3 stars down to warrant officers and sometimes more junior staff, particular who then want to understand maybe things like finance, because the roles they want to go into have got a heavy sort of finance element to them. So I just wanted to go over, previous delegates and some of the things nice things that they've said, and I would really commend you to speak to people who've been on the course before. The team in the office can, give you a name of each of the services, different ranks, whoever you want to speak to. And we've always get feedback on the course that we monitor and keep. So access to all of that information is available to you. So the past 20 years we've developed and helped 13,500 military personnel through here, and it's great. Well, I've only been here 3 years, but to hear the stories of how they've got on, it's been amazing, and it really does fill me with happiness. And the final piece as well is that a lot of people are now directors, run their own business, senior roles within organisations. So, which is great. And I think one of the key things that I have picked up is that UK PLC needs you, absolutely needs you. There are not enough good people to go around, and with the experience you've got, you turn up on time, you're reliable, you're well qualified, they're absolutely desperate to get you. And you're lucky you've got the help with the Officers Association, who I really commend, CTP and others. So have confidence whatever stage you are in your resettlement. Have the confidence there's work out there, there's good jobs out there for you. I don't really intend to run through this slide in detail, but the next 3 slides, including this one, are people that have been on the executive management program and have got a real, a successful job and are doing really, really well. So I'll let you read this slide in slower time. But Derek Forsyth, I know that he's gone into sort of operational management, which is the area that he'd done quite a lot of work with, obviously in his Navy career. But now head of operations at nuclear at Jacobs. It just shows how those roles are out there, those good senior roles are out there, and how the executive management program can help you get into those. Dickie Davis, quite a character. His claim to fame is that he brought Aston Martin into South Wales. So he works for the Welsh government, and a real great guy. Retired as a lieutenant colonel, and he's one of the guys that advocates that he uses the notes day to day, which is great. And we've had him. But I've seen him a few times, and again, he's somebody that will always advocate what we've done and how it's helped him get in. Tony Borgnis, again, you look at what he's running now. I know he's got a budget of 52 million, and again, he uses the financial elements of the course that he utilised that helped him get the job and utilises day to day. So those 3 examples, you've got 1 in public sector and you've got 2 in private sector. And as you can see, each of them, state how the course really helped them in their transition, in their journey to resettlement. Yeah, so there's a number of quotes here, and again, I won't go into them in detail. I'll let you read them in slower time. But they all talk about, the practical element of the course. They commend it to others, and yeah, like I said, we're very happy as an organisation I'm very proud that we get really good feedback. So again, we can give you details of people that have been here before in each of the services and all ranks. Very happy to do that. Next slide, please. Yeah, I'll just run through some of these. So practical rather than an overly academic focus. I think that speaks for itself. And I've gone over that point a few times. The course is pitched at just the right level to give me confidence to understand, speak commercial language. As I said earlier, it's one of the things a lot of companies have picked up. And all we do really is just tune you into the fact you do understand commercial. You do buy from Amazon, you do watch the news, you do know what's going on. We just give you those extra words and learning points that make a difference between going to an interview and not understanding or not saying the right buzzwords to saying the right buzzwords. And unfortunately, that's the game that you're in. You're up against other candidates that maybe got more commercial experience, but when you tie the commercial experience or the experience you've got both during your military career and outside, and say the right words and tie those together, then it's a winning combination. Friendly environment, yeah, we've got quite the management centre itself. I'm very proud again that we've got quite an intimate and friendly atmosphere. That's part. The doors are always open to come and speak and get advice. About my experience or the team's experience. We're always here to help. So yeah, again, I'm very proud that we have that. We get that feedback quite a bit. The ability to understand and analyse from a position of no knowledge at the start of the week was very good. Yeah, again, I go in on the first day and people are sort of sat there all listening, and then by the time I speak to people through the 3 weeks, they get it. And that is so rewarding as somebody that is responsible for delivering this training. It's absolutely rewarding for me to hear people talking in more commercial speak, especially when they come back and I have to remind them that they're speaking to military delegates that, unlike them, they haven't transitioned yet. They're talking too much business speak. You need to explain what you're talking about. That's quite funny. Really, that's happened a few times with our speakers. Delivery content and pace of the course are very good. Yeah, you're going to have all different learning people with different experience. So because of our knowledge of public sector and military experience, we're very good at making sure that the pace is right, particularly on the finance course, because that's quite challenging. So I just wanted to summarise really, sort of skills that you've got, but also that you can pick up by going on other courses. I've talked about the Bristol Executive Management Programme, Financial Management, Operations, etc. That's a Chartered Manager Institute. So that really is taking your military experience and then applying it in a business focus. There are other things related to that. So change management is something that, again, is done quite a lot in a lot of areas of public sector and the military. APMG offer an accredited course around change. There is change mentioned and taught a little bit on the course, on the BEMP course as well. One of the other things that we do a lot here is around the sort of project and program management. A lot of you, and I really say to you, if you can, get these whilst you're serving, things like Prince 2 and Agile project management and managing successful programs. Again, wanted in business and really, really good to do. And then we do some specialist courses here around sort of ITIL, which is IT, cyber, and project planning and control. One thing I will say, slightly off-piste really, is, if you haven't done project management, I wouldn't recommend doing a project management course and say you're a project manager. It's just don't waste your money. You really need to spend the time now focusing on what you want to do and think about the areas where you've got experience and utilise the courses with your end training provider on helping you take the skills you've got in the military and put them into civilian, to Civvy Street. Yeah, I think, again, just a final one really, from a gentleman that came through us in 2013 after doing 23 years in the army, and now runs, I think it's 4 businesses. So and again, I've actually dealt with him with business, so it's just great to see how his whole transition, how he's changed, and it's achievable. It's there. I think that's the key thing. Okay. Really happy to take questions. Please do. Equally, the website has got details of our courses on. It's also got the phone number. The team in the office understand, as they've been working here for 16, 20 years. They understand, the whole process of the funding, the LCAS funding, and the process with the resettlement officers, how you do that, the dates, and how much you've got. So all the sort of administration they're brilliant at. They're also experienced in what are the right courses to do, their advice on what to do. So please ask them. And there's an email address to that. Equally, I'm very happy to take questions and or around opportunities, what the job market is like. I'm really happy to give advice around that. Jo?
Well, thank you so much, Dean. There's a lot of information in there, and we have had a couple of questions come through. Still waiting to see if anybody else would like to put up their question. The first one came through from Ross. Now, you mentioned the value to people going into running their own businesses, to aspiring to board level roles, and people setting up franchises. But this question is more about the charity sector. So how appropriate is this course to being involved in the charity arena, please, Dean?
Okay, yeah, I'll answer that. So a charity is run and has to be run like a business. So you have your regulations, you have your finances to go through, and you have your strategy. So the 3 weeks, starting with the strategy for the charity. This is where you are now. This is where you want to go. These are the options. These are the things that we need to do. Should we sell in shops? Should we sell online? What sort of things are we going to do operationally? How are we going to help people, etc. So the answer to that question is absolutely. It matches exactly.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Dean. Another question was around, you mentioned the CMI level 7.
Yes.
Now, the question from Ruth is, does actually attendance on the course gain you the CMI level 7, or is there some other extra work that you then need to do to acquire that?
Yep. Apologies, Ruth, for not answering the question during the presentation. Basically, you have to do a paper. It's so many thousand words to get you that accredited level. And again, we provide you with some assistance on what you need to do in that document. So there's a session during the course on CMI, the various levels of awards that you can get, and actually the number of words and what you have to write in order to go for the assessment in order to do that. So the assessment fee is part of the overall fee for the course as well. So the answer to your question is you do an assessment.
Thanks, Dean. Another question's just come through with regards to a question around how competitive is the Bristol Management Centre's courses over other organisations that are helping the military with startups. And the one that's mentioned here by Faye is Unsung Hero, which apparently offers free courses. Yes.
So with that, Faye, I mean, it depends. We don't offer any free courses. The only elements that we offer that are free are things around, whilst you're on the executive management program, the evening speakers and advice on your CV and LinkedIn, and actually general hints and tips about interviews and salary negotiations. So no, we don't offer any, and there's a number of organisations out there. Crucial is another one that does things around cyber and offers free courses and then trying to get you into a role. So the answer to your question is no, we don't offer anything free. What we do offer obviously is all through your LCAS funding.
I just wondered also, perhaps adding to that, how would you say that BEMP or BMC is competitive with other organisations around the place that are offering the same?
Yeah, I think that obviously you can go onto the LCAS website. You can go to your advisors. You can go to CTP. So if I start with the BEMP. There are a number of organisations that offer similar qualifications, but also similar type courses. And the value for money wise, I think that one of those is the AMAC up at Manchester University. I think value for money wise, so the cost, but also all the added benefits, the practical element, the experience of people that actually are practitioners, makes us very, very competitive against Manchester. And then if you look at the other courses, again, we utilise practitioners, so people that have run project management, understand project management. So you get quality people delivering the courses. So, but again, there's bundles, there's ways of tying up different courses to make the overall, piece cheaper. And I think the fact that also you do get non-military delegates on your course as well is another area of value add. But yeah, I do. The money you got is precious. You need to be very, very careful on what organisation you spend it with. And again, I will reiterate: if you haven't done project management in your career, and somebody says to you, do Prince 2, you get a project management job. That is just not right. You need to have done project management, or you need to have done risk in your career. A piece of paper is not going to get that for you. So, I think there's a lot of it around trusting. Do you trust that organisation? Have a look at the feedback on the organisation on the website. Have a look at what a lot of the corporate, what corporates they're using. How many military personnel have they trained before? What's the experience of them training, military people in resettlement? Those are the things that you really, really need to focus on in order to get the value, for the course. And also whether they offer you the qualifications. Some people advertise a course and it doesn't even include the exam. So make sure you're getting everything you need in order to become accredited.
Thanks, Dean. There's another question around, would you recommend the BEMP course over Prince 2 or Agile courses for future employment in project management? So you've touched on project management already.
Yeah. So I think, again, I'll answer it. It depends if you have done project management in your career and that's what you want to do, then yes, I personally, my recommendation with that would be go for a project management course. The Agile is obviously the new word, the new ways of doing projects, but also you've got Prince 2, which is the methodology for delivering public sector and outside. But then you've got the Association of Project Management that gives you a real generic view of lots of elements of project management. So the elements of BEMP is really general about running a business, being in a business, understanding a business. If it's not management or leadership or senior leaders in a business, you want to be a project manager, then absolutely you should do a project management course, only if you've got the practical experience.
Thanks very much, Dean. One last question we have is a question around the evening work, and I have heard that you make people work pretty hard on this course from delegates that I've spoken to afterwards. So the question is, how much evening work is there?
The answer to your question is there is quite an amount. I would say on average probably about 6 to 8 hours probably a week, probably 6 hours a week. So some of that is in groups, some of that's preparing for the presentation. But whilst we've got you here, we want you to learn. You need to do the exercises in order to understand the fundamentals on each area of the business. So yeah, it's about 6 hours.
Thanks, Dean. Is there anybody out there who'd like to add another question? I'll just give you the opportunity to do so. other than that, that's all we've actually had come through in terms of questions. One question that we did discuss earlier, Dean, was how to book onto the courses. I think you were going to mention that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, the key point for me is think about whether this is the right thing for you. I've given you some reasons why we think it is, but you need to think about what you want to do, or at least have an understanding of the areas where you want to go into. Because I said it will aid you, the BEMP course, to go into business, understand finance, and then phone the team in the office on the office number, and they'll explain the BEMP and elements and ask you what you've done and why. So I think that's the key thing to do. So look at the website, which is www.bmc.ac.uk, and go to courses, and you'll find the Executive Management Programme. As I said, you can split the weeks up. Send an email via inquiries, but I'm a firm believer in speaking to people. So yeah, just pick up the phone and call the team, and it's 01179 49 1500 is the office number.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your participation in this webinar, and we'd like to thank Dean Taylor so much for your really useful insights into the Bristol Management Centre and most particularly the Executive Management Programme. Thank you so much.